Netflix's Squid Game became a global phenomenon by pitting hundreds of players against childhood games where the cost of losing was death. YouTube creator Mr. Beast attempted to duplicate that tension by gathering 456 real people to compete for a $456,000 cash prize. But the core design problem remained. Without the threat of death, how do you prevent a competition from feeling like a safe playground game? Part of the solution was environmental. To create a space that felt truly overwhelming, the production invested $3.5 million to recreate the show's sets in exact detail. The goal was to reverse engineer fictional mechanics into a functional reality. To simulate a gunshot, every player wore a wireless device strapped to their torso. When triggered by the PRU, it popped, spilling liquid dye and immediately eliminating the contestant. During the first game of red light, green light, this hardware worked. Over 100 people were picked off and dropped out of the game in just the first few minutes. This flowchart illustrates the video's economic engine. Revenue from a Brawl Stars brand integration funneled downward, funding physical set pieces and the massive prize pool. During Tug of War, competitors pulled with so much force they literally broke the physical equipment. But physical engineering can only exert so much pressure on a player. For the marbles game, the producers utilized psychological manipulation. Throughout the tournament, the crew actively monitored which contestants were socializing together. They then forced players to partner up with their newly made best friends, knowing only one could survive the round. Without the threat of physical harm, the production team simulated the cruelty of the original show by forcing people to eliminate the exact allies they relied on. The most complex mechanism was the glass bridge. Players had to choose between two platforms. One would hold their weight, and the other would drop them. In a script, a wrong choice means a cinematic fall. In reality, trapdoors dropped eliminated players safely into a giant pit of foam. Knowing they were perfectly safe did not stop human nature from taking over. Players simply refused to jump. Contestants in the back demanded the frontrunners take a leap of faith, while the frontrunners refused to budge. The game hit a complete psychological stalemate. The producers had to deploy an emergency countermeasure. They pointed to the clock and enforced a strict countdown, instantly eliminating 4 players who were still lingering on the platforms when the timer hit 0. Real people will prioritize their own survival and stall the game. To force the momentum that a script naturally provides, the production had to rely on artificial time constraints. Out of an initial crowd of 456, the tournament whittled the numbers down to a final handful of survivors eating a steak dinner. But there was a glaring issue for the final event. These Western competitors did not actually know the rules to the titular Korean Squid Game, so the creators pivoted to a universal childhood game of pure attrition: musical chairs. The multi-million-dollar sets and explosive devices are gone. The climax relies entirely on a single wooden chair and ominous music. The final 2 competitors circled the chair. Knowing the exact moment the music stopped, one of them would win $500,000. By combining clever mechanics, universal human psychology, and a staggering cash prize, the tournament demonstrated that creating high-stakes drama depends on the engineering of the game rather than the threat of actual physical harm.